Greetings, owners of fine luxury digital rectangles. Well, kids, it's time for part two of the Market Watch. So this is where we're going to do a deep dive into all the cards, all the way from Alpha, all the way up to Rebellion. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, and enjoy. Let's get started. So we're going to start at the beginning with Alpha. So these are your Alpha Commons. There are 20 commons in the set. Right now, the lowest price is 58 cents. You can see the amount for sale here. So let's just scroll down. We're going to go through all the different sets and rarities just so we kind of have a record of, at this point in time, how many cards were available for sale, what the circulation is, and the price. So right now, your most expensive Alpha Common is $1.41. Let's move to Rare. So your rares starting with Clay Golem are $1.09. You can see as we move into the rares, now we're starting to get into single digits and 10, 12 copies. That's it. 9 copies, 18. That's weird. 41 for Peacebringer. Not sure why there's so many of those. We have some summoners all the way up to Stone Golem at $4.90. So just taking a look at the alpha summoners for the rare slot, these are the ones available. So $2 up to $3.71 for Zintar. Moving on to Epic. So Air Elemental is your cheapest Alpha Epic at $2.69, up to $10.85 for Magi of the Forest. And then finally for your legendary cards, and I mentioned this in part 1, there are 9 legendary cards in Alpha, but there's only 7 currently available for sale. Cheapest is $20.32 for Lord of Darkness. There's only 2 copies available, and $75 for the Elemental Phoenix. Okay, so now let's take a look at the gold foil versions. So as you can see, the gold foils for the commons are starting to dry up. The last couple of weeks, actually the last few months, the cheapest has been anywhere from about $12 to $14. Then you've had a couple right in that range. Well, look at this. After Rexy at 15, it jumps to 25 for the next cheapest common. So very quickly, you're getting in the 30s and 40s for alpha commons. There's only 18 available for sale out of the 20. So 2 of them are not even up for sale. And you can see the very low liquidity on these. You know, single copy, 2, 3, 4, not many at all. And even just total circulating supply, you know, in the mid 300s for a common. Moving to rares, now you start getting more pricey. $100 for Medusa, up to Water Elemental at $9.66. Once again, only 13 out of the 20 available. Epics, and this has been the case since I've been doing the Market Watch. There's 10 epics, and surprisingly, there's at least one of each epic for sale. Swamp Thing is $2.99, up to Dark Enchantress for $1,500. Now you start getting circulating numbers under 100 for these. Actually, even under 80. Looks like the most is 79 for the Fire Demon. And then finally, for the legendaries, the new card I think is Lord of Darkness. I don't remember seeing this one for $33.33. Selena Sky for $11,000, and then Elemental Phoenix for $155,000. So that's it for your core set. Now for your promo cards, Dragon Whelp Common, $8. Neb Cine, $14.45. Royal Dragon Archer, just under $500. And Shinlo Legendary, I haven't seen this one in quite a while, $550, single copy available, 87 in circulation. And for the gold foils, thought this was funny, the common they're listing for almost 5,000, the rare is 117, and then the epic is 975. Okay, so that's it for alpha. So let's move on to beta. Let's just look at the core and reward cards. Starting with your commons. So 3-4 cents is the floor for the cheapest beta commons. So you can see the prices and circulating supply all the way up to Feral Spirit at 49 cents. This one looks like it's kind of a buyout. I don't think Feral Spirit or Rexy normally would be the 2 most expensive ones. I can see Flesh Golem and Crustacean King being up there, but these 2 are a little bit high compared to the others. Your rares, 20 cents for Skeletal Warrior and Crystal Werewolf and Boogeyman. So those are your cheapest at 20 cents. Going all the way up to Chicken is back to almost $1. And Zintar is $2 most expensive. I'm really surprised that Ulrich is only $1.30. For as good as he is for +1 magic, why is this card under $2? And there's actually quite a few available. So I think that's a pretty good pickup. So if anybody playing in Wild, and especially with survival mode where you're going to need summoners, that +1 magic, even a BCX, would be decent. $1.30, $1.40, that is not bad at all. Actually, let's take a look at the summers overall. So you've got Tyrus at 47 cents, Malric at 65, Liana at 74, Ulrich, of course, 130, and 2 for Zintar. For your beta summoners. Moving to your epic, 70 cents is the cheapest beta epic. Going up to a couple cards I think that are just way out of whack. Naga Warrior for 15 when the next most expensive is 426. And then Kiara at $56. This has got to be, okay, yeah, max copies. So the reason that one's so expensive is those are max copies. Normally they're just, as you can see, $1.20 per BCX. That seems pretty reasonable. So no single copies, just max. Let's take a look at Naga Warrior. Okay, that makes sense as well. So that's for a 11 BCX. And then finally your legendary cards. $4.50 for the Black Dragon. All the way up to $59.99 for Voldemort. This looks familiar. Yep, this is the one I have for sale. So I have the cheapest Voldemort for sale if anyone's interested, at least for a single BCX. If you want to get a multiple, if you want to get like a level 3 for 35 BCX per card, you have to spend 175. So that is it for your beta cards for regular foil. Now let's take a look at the gold foil. So now your gold foils, you're looking at almost $2 for the low end. Creeping Ooze for $1.96 I think is a very good deal. I've seen this card usually between $3 and $6. It's spiked at certain times above 10, but I think consistently this is like a $4 to $6 card, somewhere in there. So to see it at $1.96 is a little bit low. Cube at $2.50, I think that's a good deal. I think a lot of these are too cheap considering they're beta. Flesh Golem for $5. That's usually about twice that. All the way up to $12.64 for Crustacean King. Moving to your rare cards, $7.95 for the Pirate Archer. Gold Foil Chicken, $8.55. Moving all the way to, look at this, $1,067 for Silver Shield Paladin. Gremlin Blaster for $240, Haunted Spirit $155. Yeah, these are way out of whack. I would say, these last 5 cards are just way overpriced. And the ones that are underpriced are the Summoners. Especially a gold foil Ulrich beta card for under $20. That is a good deal. I can't see Liliana being more than Ulrich. And Zintar being half of what Ulrich is. So these 4 to me seem a little bit cheap. Okay, going to epics, now you're looking at about $30 is the floor for a gold foil beta epic. All the way up to Spirit Shaman at $260. And then finally your beta legendary cards, right around $260 for the Black Dragon. All the way up to, there is no gold foil Voldemort, so that one either sold or was taken down. Peak Rider is the most expensive at $35.80. Single copy of Spirit Miner for $2,500. Plato also at $2,500. Sacred Unicorn at $2,000. What are some other key cards? Gold Foil Cryptmancer for $700. Lord of Darkness for $350. So those are your gold foil legendaries. Now let's take a look at the regular foil promo cards. So for your promos, this is the one that I noticed moved a lot in the last couple weeks is Delwyn. Single copies. I think a lot of people bought out all the ones that were slightly under $1, right around $1 per BCX. Now you've only got a couple under $2. Not very many for sale. As you can see, and the price goes up pretty quickly. So I think someone's grabbed a lot of these for survival mode. It's coming up sometime next year. The Bowman, 49 cents. That's pretty standard. 258 for the Harpy is about right. Red Dragon seems to hover between 10 and 20. So this one is actually 20 for single BCX, but as you can see, if you get max copies, you can get it for half that per BCX. And as I mentioned in part 1, I don't remember seeing Prince Julian or Archmage Arius this cheap. I mean, there's been a lot of times where I don't see them for sale. And if I do, they're, 4 figures plus. So if there is someone that is a big spender, has a lot of money to spend, and are looking at picking either of these 2 rare cards up for a good price, this is the best price I've seen in quite a while. Actually, I think this is probably the best price ever for those 2 cards, especially the Prince Julian. Okay, so that's it for the promos. Let's look at the gold foil promos. So your gold foil promos, there's only 2 available. So the Summoner is going for $15.55, and the Dragonling Bowman, the rare, is going for $50. Okay, let's look now at orbs. So a very small set, very quick to go through. So 4 to 14 cents for your commons. Your rares, 22 to 34 cents, pretty standard. Decent amount of all these available as well. Your epic cards, this I mentioned in the first part. Normally these 2 cards are right around $1. They'll fluctuate between 90 and $1.10 or $1.20. So to see one at $15.99, I was like, oh, is that like multiple BCX? No, it's not. 16, 1645, 19, and then even the copies that are level 2, 3, and 4, they're asking at least 15, 16 bucks per BCX, except for this one is 13. So not sure why this card has spiked so much, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. And then finally your legendaries, 3 cards, usually between 5 and 10 bucks, so this is about right. And then for gold foil commons, the chef, maybe it's because of the affliction, he's the most expensive. I would say the armor smith should probably be worth more, but that is what the market is saying. For the rares, 7 to 1162 for your 3 rares. Your epics, look at this. So the regular foil mermaid is going for 16, the gold foil is only 33. And then the dwarven wizard that's selling for under $1 is 89 for the gold foil. So these seem backwards. And then finally your legendaries, these are the 2 that have been up for several months. The Warlord for 700 and Corrupted Pegasus for 1400. Okay, so that's it for beta. Let's go to Untamed. Let's look at the regular foil commons. So of course Untamed still had, a pretty decent supply when it came out. So that's why the commons are still sitting at, 2, 3 cents. For your low-end commons. Still, quite a bit available for the most part. Every once in a while you'll get ones that are kind of low, 25 copies here, 27 there. But then you'll have others that are in the hundreds. But then again, remember, if you need 400 copies, for a max copy, you see 27 or 92. And there's probably, well, there are several that are maxed out. And after that, actually, there is a decent amount of that card. Kind of surprised. Serpentine Spy for 6 cents. That to me seems like a steal. Sandworm for 7. Most expensive maggots at 40. Only 6 available. As you guys know, failed summoner is usually the most expensive, and this one is only 23 cents. Going for the rares. So now you're sitting at 4 or 5 cents for the rares. For the floor, all the way up to such great cards, so cheap. Pixie for 14, the Elder for 20, and then we'll get into the summoners in a minute. Shield Bearer for 20 cents. A Unicorn Mustang, great card, $1.10. Let's take a look at the rare summoners. So kind of surprised that people haven't been picking these up. I think there was someone that bought a lot of the Drake earlier today. So that floor is up to 62 cents. You can see there's only 11 copies available. So there's only one single BCX available. Then they start getting into multiple copies. So a decent amount, 60s, 30s, 40s for these, but I'm really surprised that people haven't scooped these up at these low prices for survival mode. Even if they're not the best of summoners, you need a summoner for survival mode, so a lot of people are not going to be too picky. They just want to play, give me a summoner. Okay, Epic. So now you're looking at 22 cents for the Onyx Sentinel. Up to the Chief at $1.48. Axe Master sitting there at 55. Another card I love in Wild is Coral Wraith with that sneak and 2 magic damage sitting there at 51 cents. And then legendary cards, $1.43 for the Spirit Druid. All the way up to, look at this, guys. So Kitty is not the most expensive. Can you believe Lear Deep Swimmer is above Kitty? And Llama is #1. And this is not for a multiple BCX copy either. There are individual copies for Llama starting at 53.50, and you can see quite a bit at 56.50. So the floor of Llama has basically doubled because he was consistently 25 to 30. Deep Swimmer, there is a single card. Well, there we go, 2 BCX, so for 50 bucks. So basically he's 24 each. And then Kitty, 46 bucks. I'm sure that's probably for a single BCX. Yep. So you've got 5 single BCX kitties under 50, then it jumps to 138. And there are 4 max kitties available. Can you believe kitty available, max copy for under 400 bucks? And then some other key cards. Jotun is sitting there at just under 41. Almost sitting at 23.75. Mimosa under 10. Kind of surprised. It's a good card. Anytime I see a legendary summoner from Untamed under 10 bucks, I think that's a pretty good deal. And there's only one. Okay, so there's one Mimosa under 10 bucks if someone wants to grab it. If they don't, I think I know someone that might. Kron the Undying, 750, so he continues to tick lower. Cornelius at 8. So some decent cards here. Okay, let's look next at the gold foils. So starting with your gold foil commons. So now we're looking at basically 50 cents as the floor for gold foil Untamed. All the way up to, and I think I mentioned this, oh, and it's already gone. So there was a gold foil Serpentine Spy for 10 bucks, and it was for 5 BCX copy, so it was a level 5. That one has been gone. Maybe this is the one that was bought and relisted, now at 20.50. So I thought that was a good buy. Maybe somebody heard me in part 1 and snatched that up. So yep, so that one is now your floor, or your most expensive common, 20.50. Looking at rares next. So you've got $2.20 for the Grim Reaper. Let the graphics load so we get the correct. There we go. So you guys can see the print runs, the amount in circulation on the marketplace currently. We'll take a look at the gold foil summoners in a minute. The most expensive card is a gold summoner, which I think is appropriate, for $7.45. So these are your gold summoners. And once again, I think any gold summoner like from Untamed, especially under 5 bucks, is a pretty good buy. So, and especially these under 3 bucks. You can see there's 15 Pyre, only 3 Wizard of Eastwood. Actually, there's only 1 single BCX sitting there at 294. That's a definite buy for somebody, I think. Couple of these, actually 3 of these for right around 3 bucks. That's another great buy. Pyre, 240. Yeah, these 3. Actually, yeah, actually these 6 under 4 bucks for a gold summoner. Because remember, gold summoners will allow you just 1 copy to play a max bronze deck. So even if you're like, oh, I'm only getting a single BCX, well, if you get a single BCX of a gold summoner, you got a max bronze deck, so that'll get you a little bit farther than you might think normally. Okay, gold foil epics, Onyx Sentinel at 1014. All the way up to 150 for Thunderbird. What? 75 for Hero of Beyond. So I think these are a little bit high. Darkest Mage for 50. Yeah, this should probably be 15 to 20. Yep, I think a lot of these high-end ones are a little bit overpriced, but then again, they're the only copies, so you can name your price. But as you can see, standard prices for these, you're looking at basically 10 to 30 bucks. So yeah, I think 10 to 30 for these would be about right. And then finally, your gold foil legendary untamed cards, starting at $62.50 for Robo Dragon Knight, all the way up to a single kitty for $5,000 and a scale doctor for $5,500. Gold foil llama for $7.95, Almo for $500. Jotun looks like a steal compared to these for only $3.90, and Kron for $101. Okay. So now let's look at promo cards. So let's look at your promos. So for your promos, you only had the Halfling Alchemist, Chain Golem, and Mighty Dricken. Halfling Alchemist, $1.35. Chain Golem, almost 10. And then a Mighty Dricken, you can see there's only 89 in circulation for $1,500. Your gold foil versions, Chain Golem is 58. Halfling Alchemist, for some reason, is $240. Not sure why it's that expensive. Is that a multiple BCX? Yep, okay, so it's level 4, it's 3 of them. Because I was going to say, normally that's about a $60 to $70 card, so that seems about right then. So just no single copies available. All right, so after that, let's move on to dice. So your commons, a penny to 4 cents. You can see a lot of copies available, over 20 to 30,000 in circulation. Next for your rares, which are your summoners. Once again, surprise, there's a couple of summoners, under that 50 cents. Quid and Vera don't get a lot of love, but still 18 cents for summoners. I would think people would just snatch these up for survival mode. And then Mylor. Remember, for the longest time, Mylor was sitting at $1, just over $1. Those days are gone. The single BCX copies that are available are now $5 plus. But if you do buy multiple BCXs, then you start getting a better deal. And is there any max copies available? Yes, there are 4 max copies available, right around 100 bucks. So if you want a max Mylor, $100, if that seems like a good price to you, that is a lot better than buying the single copies. Okay, so there are your rares. Your epics, the 3 cards, 38 to 43 cents, decent amount available. And then finally your legendaries. The one thing I wanted to point out with the legendary, I think this is the cheapest I've seen Epona. Normally it's anywhere from like $40 to $60 for her. Krallis I've seen as high as like in the 30s for a single BCX, maybe even low 40s from time to time. So 17 for Krallis seems very low. And there are 4 available under 20 bucks. It's another card I'm going to have to think about, is getting a Krallis. Of course, I don't think I'll be playing a whole lot in Wild after April, so I'm going to try to save as much funds as I can. As you guys know, I want to keep getting ready for Modern in April, but still, if you are a Wild player, I think that's a pretty good deal. Okay, so let's look now at the gold versions. So 54 cents to $2 for the battering ram for your commons. Your rares, which are your summoners, $2.75 for Vera. That I think is a steal, as is $3.89 for Quid Yuff. Lornstein under 10. I think any Lornstein under 10 is good. Oyster right around 10. Yep, that's decent. Same with Bright and Bloom. And now, what was it? 3-4 months ago, I picked up a gold foil Mylar. I couldn't believe it, for 10 bucks. Now they're 30, 35 per BCX. Let's go now to your epics. So 10, 11 bucks up to 26. And then finally your legendary cards. Once again, I don't think I ever see gold foil Epona. Gold foil Krallis were $195. And then the Rosa Nightshade for $218.50. All right, so now we have moved up to everyone's favorite set. Let's look at just core and first reward set from Chaos Legion. As you guys know, they go from a penny just to a few pennies. And usually it's always Scavo Hireling is the most expensive common, sitting at 6 cents. The 1 and 2 cent Deep Lurkers have been bought out. He is now 4 cents. Goblin Psychic, still not sure why he's 2 cents. They haven't been bought out, but I'm sure at some point someone will. And Disintegrator, another great card with Demoralize, sitting at 2 cents. Moving to rares. 2 cents is the floor for your rares. All the way up to your summoners. So earlier today, Kelly was sitting at 19 cents, so she's gone up a little bit to 22. But still, all of these Chaos Summoners that are this cheap, I'm really surprised that they're not bought out. I mean, you can see 200-300 copies, that's a decent amount. But like I said, with survival mode and people needing dozens of summoners if they want to play consistently, I keep expecting these to either completely disappear or to go up to at least 30-40 cents. So we'll see. We still got a few months to go. Okay, epics. 10 cents is the floor for your epics. All the way up to Wave Brood, sitting at 33 cents. And then finally your legendary cards. So we're getting real close to that 50-cent floor for legendary cards. All the way up to the most expensive this week is Immortalis at just under $4. Conqueror Yasik at $3.59. Possibilis at $3.50. Lily at $3.33. Once again, I think all of these legendary summoners are just way too cheap. Don't expect them to be at this price or be this many available as we get closer to April, but we do have 4 months to go. So we'll see how things change over the next 4 months. And then commons, let's look at the gold foil. So the floor's moved up a little bit. You know, it had been as low as 13-14 cents. Now you're sitting at 15 cents for a gold foil common. All the way up to $1.09 for Scavo Hireling. And just real quick, I want to see how many max gold foil commons are there. So there's only one Cruel Cephalopod, 5, 3, 2, 1, 2. You can see a lot of the cheap max gold foil commons are pretty much gone. You know, you've got single copies, 2 copies. Wow, what's the most? 5? And that's probably because it's neutral. So yeah, gold foil commons max are quickly drying up at good prices. So now you start getting into these, or you start getting into, you know, $10 plus. 35 for Radiated Brute because he's the only one. Almost 50 for Scavo Hireling. But yeah, so if you're still looking for those cheap workers for land, you know, gold foil commons to get 2,000 production points, you know, for a while you can get them for $4 or $5. Now you're getting into the $6-7 range, and there's, you know, single copies available. So just a heads up if you guys are looking to fill out your land. Okay, going to rares. Like, why is there not that many? Because I'm still on max level. So 64.71 cents is the floor. All the way up to your gold summoners. And look at this, Kelia. So for a while, Kelia was, you know, $2, $3 for a gold foil version. Now you're getting close to $10. You know, there's quite a bit at 9. Actually, how many are there? 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there's 17 under $9. And then another one at $9.50. And then multiple copies. So that card is really shot up compared to the others. Still, you know, you can get a gold summoner for $1.49, $1.85, and once again, this will allow you to play a max bronze deck for a single copy. So I think any of these under $3 would probably be a good deal. Kelia's a little bit too pricey now at $8.48 to pick up for survival mode. Going for gold foil epics, which I love for land, you're looking at $2.73, $3.20, but these are both neutral. So $3.20 for fire is really your cheapest one if you're looking for land. up to $9.99 for Grund for Earth. But yeah, a majority of them are still consistently in that, $3.50 to $5 range for most of these. And then finally, your gold foil legendaries. We're getting very close to getting $20 as the floor. Once again, for gold foil legendaries. And the most expensive this week is only $55 for Possibilis. Kind of surprised to see Heartclaw at $55. But still, when you think about a gold foil summoner, $40, and even, where is he? Grandmaster Wraith for under 24 for a gold summoner. It seems kind of, let's just take a look at the gold summoners. Quicks at 22.44, really? He's the cheapest. Lily at 34, yeah, decent prices on those. Okay. So that is gold foil. So we went through core and reward. So now let's look at the soulbound cards. So your soulbound chaos cards, you're looking 5 cents to 7 cents for the commons, 20 to 39 for the rares. So a couple of the rares are starting to tick up in price. The summoners I think are going to be consistently getting 25 to 30 cents. It looks like probably in another couple weeks or so the floor will be 30, and then they'll start going up from there. Your epics, $1.08 to $1.65 for your epics. And then finally your legendaries. The floor on these has really started to move too. For a while it was like just under $5 was the floor. Now we're pushing $6 for the floor, up to $7.80 for Iziar. And then your gold foil. So your gold common is $1.27 to Fungus Flinger at $3.69. So this should be, the highest common in the set because of the martyr ability. So that's right about where it should be. Rares, $5.85 up to $8.25. I think a lot of these gold foil summoners are going to continue to tick up in price. Your epics in a very tight $32 to $40 range there. But you can see very few copies available. And then finally your legendaries. The floor, I think I mentioned in part 1, was like $108 for a few weeks was the floor. Now we're up to $125, up to $275. And once again, look at the low liquidity. Single copies or 2 copies of almost all of these things. Okay, so let's look now at your promo cards. So Archimus the Baron Brew, still 13-15 cents, not too exciting there. Oh sure, $10. Zerial, 23. And Dr. Blight is the card of the week. And yes, for single BCX copies, you're looking at $58 plus for single BCX of Dr. Blight. Now you can get a multiple copy. You can get a 6 BCX of level 3 for about the same price. So only $9.83 for BCX. So definitely target that one or target this one, which is basically the same. $60 for a level 3. You can get a max one for 110. So definitely don't buy single copies for that price when these two are at least available. So you can get it for $10 per BCX. Actually, the max ones too, 110 to 120, $10 per BCX is about what he's been going for the last 3 months. But yeah, just wanted to point out that all the single BCX ones are just way, way, way overpriced. So I expect in 2 weeks for him to be back around 10, $11, maybe even slightly under 10. And then Lux Vega at 170 and Waka sitting at 240. So Waka has had a nice price increase, as you can see. Okay, and then finally the gold foil promos. These have ticked up. These were under 2. Now they're just slightly above $2. 38 for sure. Dr. Blight sitting at 74. Zerial at 113.84. Waka gold foil 888. And 2 copies of Lux, one for 4,000 and one for 5,000. Okay. So after that, it is on to Rift Watchers. So what has Rift Watchers been up to? Answer, not a whole lot. So 1 to 7 cents for the commons. Your rare card, 6 cents up to 43. One card that's kind of moved up is Sea Stalker. This was usually one of the cheaper cards that's up to 29. Corsair Bosun and Tinderlock are usually 2 and 3, so they've slid down a little bit. Queen of Crows is still the main rare in the set. For the epics, there was kind of a spike in Dallin a few weeks ago. It was like 60 or 70 cents for a Dallin. I'm like, really? He's come back down. Him and Quadus both under 30. Scargor at 38. Thispa at 70. Fernart 73. And then Ilthane at $1.19. And then finally your legendary cards. Runemancer right around $1, up to $31 for Inevitable. Continues to be the key card in the set. Core Lurker's come back up a little bit. A while ago he was under 7. He was like 650, so he's back up to about 10 per BCX. I'm kind of surprised Agar and Seawreck are both under 7. I think these two are also very good pickups and underpriced. Runemancer, I'm seeing this card more and more. 350 seems a little bit low. Maybe he should be closer to 5. But yeah, definitely these two cards I think are underpriced. And let's look at the gold common. So 19 to 75 cents for a gold common. Your rare 74 cents up to $8 for Tinderlock. Your epics, which are your summoners, Dallin is sitting at 380, up to $45 for Ilthane, and I'm like, is this a max copy of Ilthane? Nope. There are 2 single BCX copies of Ilthane, and they're asking $45 plus for each one. So the gold foil Ilthanes have disappeared. And then finally for your legendaries, 24 for Mortius, all the way up to $310 for Kane Hayes. That seems way overpriced. This probably should be 60 to 80, somewhere in that range. So to see him at 310, and that's for a single BCX. Okay, this is a little bit better. A max copy for 315, but yeah, a single copy for 310 is a bit ridiculous. And as you will notice, there's no gold foil Inevitable. All right, so that's it for Rift Watchers. So now we're getting closer to the end of the video. So now we're up to Rebellion. So let's start with Core Rebellion. Now let's start with the reward cards, then we'll move into Core. So looking at your reward cards, 8 to 11 cents for your commons, 32 to 45 for your rares. You can see there's a decent amount of these up for sale. But then when you start getting in the epics, they get a little bit more pricey to unlock. Lower numbers. I'm really impressed. There's 46 refugees for sale and 37 Night Reapers. Did not expect that. I expected most of them to be like this. 6, 10, 9. 19 Olivias is quite a few. Usually these get snatched up right away. And then legendaries. I think I mentioned this in part 1. There was like only single copies of most of these available, and they were all by a single seller, Blue Wolves. Okay, so now this person is listed 3. But yeah, Blue Wolves is basically the only one listing legendary cards for sale from the reward cards. Okay, let's look at the gold foil commons. So $1.93 to $4.69. And even for the commons, there's not very many of these on the marketplace. Of course, I don't know how many players there are like me that are looking for building a gold foil deck. The rares, $8.75 up to $35 for the Nomad. Is that for a single BCX? Yep. Good luck selling that. That is not going to sell for $35. And your epics, $35 up to $65.99 for Livia the Brook. And then gold foil legendaries, you are probably never going to see one. Okay, so now we will go to the Core Rebellion. So how is Core Rebellion doing? So as you can see, the floor 6-7 cents for the commons. Decent amount available for sale for now. A couple hundred of each. Then we get to the summoners. Actually, this one's kind of surprised me. This one is at 57 cents. Dolphar at 48, Zedek at 38, Prunda at 36, Brewmaster at 29. Then you've got some of your 2 mana cost cards are up here as well. 38 cents, 22 cents. So commons are holding pretty strong. Your rares, 13 cents is the floor. All the way up to $1.91 for Moxian Rebel. Once again, if you can get this card under $2 just to get one copy to have it, I think that is a good buy. Underboss Fabino, saw him a few days ago for $2 plus per BCX. So it looks like someone posted a bunch for sale at 93, 94. And then not very many in the dollar range. And then he shoots to $2 plus, and I expect him to stay there. I expect him, I don't know, the way I look at it, Fabino and where is she? Wow, she's way down there. Prophet Rosa. These are the two I think you want to target for Rebellion with the plus twos. I went through your Rebellion getting ready in a video a week or two ago. The ability to give ranged for water plus two for 2 units when all of water starts with at least 2 damage, even at level 1. So now you're looking at 4 range damage with this card right away. Yeah, so Prophet Rosa, I think, is a sleeper right now. So if you guys are watching this video, want a one of my tips or buy advice, not financial advice, but just kind of game advice. If you like playing water, I think water is going to be the ranged splinter, and you definitely want to get Prophet Rosa and get it to the level that you are comfortable with and want your deck to be. Because not only is she great with water, she is also great with a couple of the neutral cards that are, I believe they are common. Let's take a quick look. So the ones that she goes very nicely with are Chaos Lackey, because now that's going to be doing 3 damage. Nimble Duck, he's going to be doing 3 damage double strike. So there's some very good archers that you can pair with Prophet Rosa. Okay, going back to epics, 45 cents up to 346 for Fellblade. This card is starting to move up as well with the tank heal, Toledo 238. I don't expect that to drop under 2. If you do see it under 2, I would definitely get a copy of it if you don't have it. And then finally your legendaries, 280 for Solace, all the way up to Tofu, who is now over 60 bucks at 61.38. Lorcus at 37. I have seen that in the low 40s. Venka, upper 20s to around 30. Yep, Cryptic in the mid 20s. Pruitt's kind of moved up a little bit. He's getting close to 20. I've seen him like 14 to 16, so he's starting to go up as well. Nidhogger's down a little bit, just under 20 bucks. Rage 15, so you can see the key cards here. Okay, let's look at your gold foils. So your gold foil commons, I don't expect very many to stay under $1. As you can see, there's only 3 now that are under $1. I think these are going to disappear quickly. Even the ones that are in the $1 to $2 range, there's a lot of key cards I think that are going to move up. Chaos Animator, you definitely want a gold foil because you want that void. That's going to protect you from Moxie and Rebel. The Haunt is just a great card. One of the very few sneak cards. So under $2, that's a great deal. As I mentioned with Prophet Rosa, throw in the Seeker. Now you're doing 4 speed, 4 damage snipe right off the bat with dodge. This is a fantastic card for Little League and just all around great. I don't understand why it's not twice that price. Endless Ape is going to be probably one of your tanks for Earth, and that Scavenge is very nice. Overseer, another great just tank. Very, very expensive, but still great. Pair him also with Moxie and Rebel. And this flank ability is going to come in great because you guys are going to realize that there's not as good a tanks in Rebellion as there was in Chaos Legion. So having flank and be able to put a somewhat of a tank in the second position and let him attack from there and not take the brunt of the damage is going to be key. What are some other ones? Rear guard, yep, he's getting close to 2. He's about right. Chaos Orc has moved up a lot. He was in the low dollars, and I'm like, he's way too underpriced. 240, that's about right, because he's going to be a good solid tank for fire. Fighter as well. Very few cards have shields, so that's a good price there. Your healer 270, and then of course your summoners. Getting to that $4 or $5 range is about where I expect they are going to be. Okay, gold foil rares, $1.33. Up to $13.40 for Moxie and Rebel. This is another card I thought was very underpriced, and you can see how he shot up. Not a whole lot of cards with opportunity in the new modern. He's neutral. He's a little bit expensive at 6. Would like to see the damage a little higher, but still, being able to throw in an opportunity monster into any splinter is key. So he was very undervalued. Now he's no longer a great value, but still a card I think you want to have. Don't have to have him in gold foil, of course, but definitely is going to be a key card in the new modern. Epics, 830 for Executioner Kron, up to 1530 for Captain Fellblade. And then finally your gold foil legendary cards, $37 for Lord Thanalor. Let you guys look at all the cards, how many are available in circulation. And look, even for a new set currently in production, there's barely over 100 of each of these in circulation. That's how scarce Rebellion is. I mean, I could see this if this was like Untamed or Beta or something like that. This is Rebellion. This is out now, and it's been out for a year, and there's still barely over 100 gold foil legendaries of some of these. Yeah, it's just crazy. Okay, so to wrap up the video, I think the last thing are the promo cards. So let's take a look at the promos. Let's look at the regular foil. So let's start with the common. So Mana Warden is disappearing on Tuesday, so a couple more days he's going to be gone. He's up to 21 cents. He was as low as I think 12 or 13. You can see just under 11,000 in circulation. And then the gold foil of him, I think a day or two ago, was $3. So it's come down a little bit to 250. I think he's going to go up a little bit once he goes out of print in a couple of days. And let's go for the rares next. Let's just do these together. So your regular foil Enforcer, 80 cents. The gold foil is 446. Mossmender. This is a card you want to have in Modern. There are no level 1 cards that have repair other than the Mossmender. And you guys know how important repair is. So even if you can't afford to level this thing up too high, get one copy of it because you're going to need it. You're going to need that repair. So single copy is under $2 for now. Look at the gold foil, $22. Ruin Arcanist, once you level this thing up, I think I mentioned this to Dwayne or somebody earlier, is you get this thing to level 4, which is max silver, which I think is key. You know, don't worry if you don't have the funds about maxing your deck. Get silver. Get your rares to level 4. You know, get your summoners, whatever type of summoner you want to use, get it to be able to cast silver level cards so that you can get a silver deck and you will do very, very well. Get this thing with Phase Ward and then put Commander Slade right in front of it, and it's just not fair with that phase, with his high speed and dodge. So that's just a little thing I wanted to share with you guys. So almost $20 for the gold foil version. Sanctus Vicar, 272 with the Cleanse Rearguard, 1850 for the gold foil. Night Stalker, holding very strong, $3 per BCX and $23 for a gold foil. For a rare, that's very good. In fact, he's more expensive than Grim Smith. So keep that in mind. You guys know how good Grim Smith is. His gold foil is just under 20. Night Stalker's is 23. But Grim Smith is holding above $3 per BCX. Okay, and then finally your legendary cards. So let's let it load the correct graphics. So Baron Fiat sitting at 320, so he's by far the cheapest legendary. So $3.20 to $37.75 for the gold foil. So is he really that bad? I mean, if you look at the production or the print rate, I mean, yeah, there's a lot more of him than some of the other ones. And I know he's nowhere on the same level as Manaroth, but is he really? I don't know. To me, it seems like he is just way, way, way cheap for a legendary card, especially one with a unique ability like having, you know, going into the new modern. I would almost say that this card is another one. It's a must-have just to get one. You know, even if you don't have it leveled up, to have the having ability and scattershot, more than likely his having is going to hit multiple targets, because otherwise having only hits one target normally, and then that's it. You know, it doesn't do anything else. But with this, with scattershot, is like the perfect combination, so you can hit multiple things and have their attacks. So I'm very, very surprised that this card is as cheap as it is, even though it may not be as powerful. It just seems to me very, very underpriced. Okay, enough with that. So Manaroth, $34, $280 for the gold foil. Nefket starting out, new card, $37 and $269 for the gold foil. Rick Loneman, $44.50, and as you will notice, no gold foil available. Delia sitting at just under 50 bucks, 299 gold foil, and finally Eleanor Brayfoot, 49.45, 8 on the marketplace, and 550 for a single copy of the gold foil version. You can see there's only 32 in circulation. So I want to look real quick at Rick Loneman. How many gold foils are there? There's 24 and none on the market. Okay guys, there you have it. That is the Market Watch for December 8th, 2024. Thank you for sticking with me for this long video. As you guys know, I love doing a deep dive into cards every 2 weeks, so we just kind of get a pulse of the market, seeing what's out there, what has changed, what are the hot cards, what are the deals that are out there. So in 2 weeks we will go through this again, and it'll be right before Christmas. We're quickly approaching the end of the year. So hope you guys have had a fantastic year. Hopefully everybody on your side is happy and healthy, as Bronze Dragon likes to say. And until next time, stay the course, keep on forging, and have fun. And I'll see you soon. Take care. I think that's enough hints for now. Take care.